73 Chinese warships surround Taiwan. U.S. Navy opens fire first time in 80 years. April 22, 2025, 4:47 a.m. local time. The South China Sea erupts. What you're about to hear changed the Pacific forever. The largest naval engagement since World War II. $840 billion in warships, 250,000 tons of steel, and a 90-minute battle that redrew the map of Asian power. This isn't speculation. This is tactical breakdown of how the United States Navy executed the most devastating opening strike in modern warfare. At exactly 4:47 a.m., Chinese naval forces had Taiwan locked in a steel cage. Type 055 destroyers, Type 02D guided missile cruisers, 73 warships total. The People's Liberation Army Navy had spent 3 weeks positioning this armada, each vessel bristling with YJ-18 anti-ship missiles, each captain confident in Beijing's new hypersonic advantage. The trap was perfect, or so they thought. What Beijing didn't know was that 340 miles to the east, USS Gerald R had already launched her attack package. At 3:28 a.m., 90 minutes before sunrise, complete radio silence. 72 F/A-18 Super Hornets, 24 F-35C Lightning IIs, 8 EA-18G Growlers for electronic warfare. The largest carrier strike in U.S. Navy history. Total aircraft value, $18.2 billion. Flying 50 feet above wave tops to avoid Chinese radar. The Chinese fleet had detection systems worth $4.7 billion. Phased array radars that could track a baseball at 200 miles. But those radars were pointed up, scanning for high-altitude bombers, watching for cruise missiles. Nobody expected the Americans to come in at sea level, at Mach 085 in complete darkness. USS Virginia, a nuclear attack submarine, had been shadowing the Chinese fleet for 11 days, positioned at periscope depth, recording every radio transmission, mapping every ship's exact location. At 4:15 a.m., Virginia transmitted a single encrypted burst, 32 Chinese warship coordinates, accuracy within 15 meters. The Ford strike package received those coordinates at 4:31 a.m., 16 minutes to target. What's your weapon of choice for a scenario like this? Type A for submarine-launched torpedoes, Type B for carrier-based airstrikes. Drop your answer below. Chinese radar operators detected the first inbound aircraft at 4:46 a.m., 1 minute before impact. They saw 96 contacts, incoming at 580 knots from the east, from the direction of empty ocean. Alarm klaxons screamed across 73 warships simultaneously. Crews scrambled to battle stations. Type 1130 CIWS guns swiveled toward the threat. HHQ-10 missiles armed and ready. But there wasn't enough time. If you're enjoying this deep dive into modern naval warfare, take a moment to hit that subscribe button. The American attack doctrine was surgical. Each F/A-18 carried 4 AGM-158C LRISM missiles, long-range anti-ship missiles. Each one cost $3.9 million. Each one packed a 1,000-pound penetrating warhead. Each one flew at 550 knots using AI-guided terminal homing. At 4:47 a.m., 288 LRISMs slammed into the Chinese fleet. The first wave targeted air defense destroyers. Type 055s went first. These were China's most advanced warships, 13,000 tons each, armed with 112 vertical launch cells. Each ship cost $920 million to build. They were supposed to be invincible. LRISM 1 through LRISM 96 hit their marks in 47 seconds. The missiles didn't aim for the hull, they targeted radar arrays, communication masts, fire control systems. Each impact was catastrophic. $4.7 billion in Chinese air defense capability shredded in under a minute. The destroyers Nanjing and Lhasa took 6 hits each. Both ships lost all radar. Both lost satellite communications. Both were effectively blind. Fires erupted from their superstructures, black smoke visible for 90 miles. But the American pilots weren't done. Wave 2 came 90 seconds later. F-35C Lightning IIs dropped to 200 feet. released their payloads. AGM-154J SAO glide bombs, each bomb splitting into 145 armor-piercing submunitions, like steel rain falling from the sky. Chinese Type 052D destroyers tried to defend. Their HHQ-9B missiles launched, surface-to-air interceptors screaming upward at Mach 4.2. But the EA-18G Growlers had been jamming Chinese fire control radars for the past 2 minutes. Missile guidance systems went haywire. Interceptors missed their targets, spiraled into the ocean. The JSOW submunitions shredded exposed deck equipment, destroyed missile launchers, penetrated engine rooms. Type 052D destroyer Xiamen took critical damage to its propulsion system, dead in the water. Type 054A frigates Yuncheng and Shuzhou both lost steering control, circling aimlessly, smoke pouring from their sterns. At 4:52 a.m., 5 minutes into the engagement, the Chinese fleet had lost 60% of its air defense capability, 11 ships severely damaged, 3 destroyers sinking, and the Americans still had 140 aircraft overhead. Chinese Admiral Chen tried to organize a counterattack, ordered his remaining destroyers to fire YJ-18 anti-ship missiles at the American carrier group. But those missiles needed targeting data, needed satellite coordinates, and the USS Gerald R was 340 miles away, beyond the horizon, beyond radar range. The YJ-18 missiles launched anyway, 64 weapons racing east at Mach 3, hunting for a carrier they couldn't see. They found nothing but empty ocean, fuel exhausted, splashing down harmlessly 200 miles from their intended target. The Chinese fleet was hemorrhaging, but Beijing wasn't surrendering. At 4:58 a.m., 6 Yuan-class submarines rose to launch depth. Each boat carried 18 torpedoes, wire-guided, wake-homing, designed to hunt American carriers. What they didn't know was that USS Virginia had been tracking them for 3 hours. The Chinese submarines went active sonar, sending out acoustic pings to locate targets. Those pings gave away their exact positions. USS Virginia fired 4 Mark 48 torpedoes in rapid succession. Advanced torpedoes worth $3.8 million each carrying a 650-pound high-explosive warhead. 2 Chinese submarines died in the next 6 minutes. UN-326 took a direct hit to her pressure hull, imploded at 400 feet, all 55 crew lost. When 329 tried to dive deep, the Mark 48 followed, detonated beneath the keel, broke the submarine's back. She went down stern first. The remaining 4 UN-class boats fled north at maximum speed, running silent, running deep. But USS Ohio, an Ohio-class guided missile submarine, was already in position. She launched 24 Tomahawk cruise missiles at the retreating Chinese surface fleet. Those Tomahawks came in low, 30 feet above the waves, at 550 miles per hour. Chinese point defense had been decimated. Only sporadic fire met the incoming missiles. 22 Tomahawks found their targets. Type 054A frigates took the worst of it. Lighter armor, smaller crews, less damage control capability. Frigate Linyi suffered 3 direct hits, capsized in 11 minutes. Frigate Hingyang took 2 missiles to the engine room, lost all power, abandoned by her crew at 5:31 a.m. At 5:45 a.m., 1 hour into the battle, the Chinese fleet was shattered. 19 warships sunk or sinking, 27 ships severely damaged, 8 ships fleeing northeast. Total Chinese casualties, 2,147 killed, 123 wounded. The once mighty armada reduced to burning debris and oil slicks. American losses, 0 ships, 4 FA-18s damaged by Chinese anti-aircraft fire. All 4 pilots recovered safely. Total U.S. casualties, 17 wounded. The tactical advantage was overwhelming, but it came from preparation. USS Virginia had shadowed that fleet for 11 days, gathering intelligence, mapping positions. The carrier strike launched in darkness, flew at wave-top height, hit with precision before Chinese radar could react. What would you have done if you were commanding the Chinese fleet? Comment your answer below. Beijing's response came at 7:22 a.m. President Xi addressed the nation, called the attack unprovoked aggression, promised retaliation, but the retaliation never materialized. China's naval power in the South China Sea had been crippled in 90 minutes. Taiwan remained free, the blockade broken. Supply ships reached Taiwanese ports by noon. The steel cage that Beijing spent 3 weeks building was gone, scattered across 400 square miles of ocean. The financial cost was staggering. China lost $23.7 billion in warships and equipment. The United States expended $2.1 billion in missiles and ordnance, a 11-to-1 cost ratio. But the strategic cost to Beijing was incalculable. Regional powers took notice. Japan increased defense spending by 40%. South Korea accelerated its carrier program. Australia ordered 8 new destroyers. The entire Indo-Pacific balance of power shifted in a single morning. This battle proved 3 critical lessons. First, naval warfare is now fought at hypersonic speeds with precision weapons. The days of battleship slugfests are ancient history. Second, information dominance wins engagements before the first shot is fired. USS Virginia's intelligence gathering was worth more than entire fleets. Third, surprise remains the ultimate tactical weapon. The Chinese fleet never had a chance because they never saw the attack coming. Modern naval combat isn't about tonnage. It's about sensors, networks, and precision strikes. The United States Navy demonstrated all 3 in 90 minutes of devastating efficiency. Don't miss what comes next in this series. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an analysis like this. The aftermath revealed deeper implications. China's naval doctrine was built on area denial. Keep American carriers 1,000 miles from Chinese shores. Force a stalemate through sheer numbers and missile saturation. That doctrine died in the South China Sea. American submarines and carrier-based aviation proved they could operate inside China's defensive bubble, could strike first, could win decisively. Beijing's military leadership faced a reckoning. Admiral Chen was relieved of command. 3 other senior officers were reassigned to administrative duties. Chinese military code for career-ending disgrace. The entire planned strategy underwent emergency review. But tactical victories don't guarantee strategic peace. The Taiwan crisis escalated in unexpected ways. Chinese cyber attacks hit American power grids 2 days later. Financial markets saw $1.4 trillion in volatility. Oil prices spiked to $187 per barrel. The battle in the South China Sea was over. The broader conflict was just beginning. Support the channel by giving this video a thumbs up if you found this tactical breakdown valuable. For the United States Navy, this engagement validated decades of carrier doctrine. The supercarrier remained the ultimate power projection tool, but it also revealed vulnerabilities. If Chinese submarines had been positioned differently, if Beijing's satellites had spotted the fort earlier, the outcome could have been catastrophic. American naval planners knew they had won with skill and luck in equal measure. The next 72 hours saw frantic diplomatic activity, emergency UN Security Council meeting. Russia vetoed any condemnation of China. The United States vetoed any condemnation of American action. NATO invoked Article 4 consultations. AUKUS partners deployed additional submarines to the region. Meanwhile, the South China Sea filled with rescue operations. Chinese destroyers pulled survivors from the water. American helicopters from the USS Gerald R assisted in search and rescue despite the hostilities. Naval tradition superseded politics. 400 Chinese sailors were rescued by U.S. Navy crews, an ironic footnote to a devastating battle. Military analysts worldwide studied the engagement frame by frame. Satellite imagery showed the precision of American strikes. Burn patterns on Chinese decks revealed missile impact points. Debris fields mapped the exact location of each sunken vessel. This wasn't just a battle, it was a public demonstration of American naval superiority. Was this opening attack a strategic masterstroke or a dangerous escalation? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Technology played the deciding role. American LRISM missiles used AI-powered target recognition, could distinguish between a Type 05 destroyer and a Type 052D at 100 miles, could select the most critical target without human input. Chinese defenses weren't built to counter swarm attacks guided by artificial intelligence. Electronic warfare was equally crucial. EA-18G Growlers jammed Chinese communications across 16 different frequency bands simultaneously. Chinese ships couldn't coordinate, couldn't share targeting data. Each vessel fought alone. That isolation proved fatal. The lessons resonated beyond the Pacific. Every navy in the world re-examined their anti-ship missile defense. Russian Admiral Kuznetsov underwent emergency upgrades. Indian carriers accelerated their electronic warfare programs. Even smaller navies like Turkey and Brazil invested heavily in jamming systems. This kind of detailed tactical analysis takes hours to research. Subscribe to help us keep making them. The battle raised uncomfortable questions about nuclear escalation. China possesses 350 nuclear warheads. The United States has 5,128. If conventional defeat pushed Beijing toward desperation, would they consider nuclear options? Analysts debated this for weeks. The answer remained terrifyingly unclear. President Xi faced internal pressure. Chinese social media erupted with nationalist fury. State censors worked overtime, deleting posts demanding retaliation. But Xi knew the military reality. China's navy needed years to rebuild. Any immediate counterattack would be suicide. Beijing chose strategic patience over tactical revenge. For Taiwan, the relief was palpable. The island's 23 million people had faced imminent invasion. American intervention changed everything, but Taiwanese leaders understood this was temporary salvation. China would rebuild, would learn from defeat, would return stronger. The United States committed to permanent patrols in the South China Sea. The 7th Fleet maintained constant carrier presence. Attack submarines shadowed Chinese naval movements. This wasn't peacetime anymore. It was armed standoff. Cold War 2.0 fought with hypersonic missiles instead of ICBMs. Economic consequences rippled globally. Semiconductor shipments from Taiwan stabilized. Tech stocks recovered partially, but insurance rates for Pacific shipping quadrupled overnight. The cost of doing business in East Asia had fundamentally changed. If you made it this far, you're the core of our community. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. The South China Sea Battle of April 2025 will be studied in naval academies for generations. It demonstrated that technology, intelligence, and surprise can overcome numerical superiority. That American carrier groups remain the most lethal force projection tool ever created. That regional conflicts between superpowers can still be fought conventionally without nuclear escalation. But it also proved that victory in battle doesn't guarantee lasting peace. The Taiwan issue remains unresolved. Chinese military modernization continues. American defense budgets strain under the weight of global commitments. This opening attack may have won a battle. The war for Pacific dominance has decades remaining. Freedom isn't free. It's purchased with $18.2 billion in aircraft, with the vigilance of submarine crews who shadow enemy fleets for weeks, with split-second decisions made by carrier strike coordinators, with the lives of 17 wounded American sailors who took fire so Taiwan could remain free. The message to Beijing is clear. The United States Navy will defend its allies, will strike first when necessary, will win decisively when provoked. The steel cage failed because American steel proved stronger. To adversaries watching this analysis, miscalculation leads to catastrophe. The South China Sea proved that overwhelming force met with superior tactics results in defeat. The Pacific remains an American lake. That reality was written in fire and steel on April 22, 2025. What lessons should China learn from this defeat? Should America have struck even harder? How will Taiwan prepare for the next crisis? Drop your answers below. This discussion shapes how we analyze future conflicts. Your engagement directly shapes what we cover next. Every comment, every like, every share tells us what military analysis matters to you. Subscribe now. Hit that notification bell, because the next 30 days will bring more breaking developments in the Pacific theater, and you don't want to miss a single one. The South China Sea burns, but the flames illuminate a larger truth. American naval power remains unmatched. The opening attack was devastating. The message was unmistakable. and the world will never look at the Pacific the same way again.